Hello YouTube, this is DVD Review Studios here, and today I'm going to be doing a huge Blu-ray and DVD update for March 2016, which I've been pretty busy recently and I've not really had a chance to film a Blu-ray and DVD update, which of course explains why I've not really posted any videos, and why the stacks of Blu-rays and DVDs have gotten to a pretty critical, substantial pile. So I'm going to try and work my way through these as quick as possible, but of course still talk about the movies and box sets that I've picked up. So first up we have the Stanley Kubrick Visionary Filmmaker Collection. What an absolutely outstanding masterpiece box set. Stanley Kubrick, one of my all-time favourite directors and auteurs, and I really do love all of his movies. So far I've only seen 5 of the movies on this box set. I haven't watched Full Metal Jacket or Eyes Wide Shut yet, but this is a really nice 8-disc edition box set. It contains a bonus disc containing 2 documentaries, which I've watched. The Malcolm McDowell one, we have 2 of them, one about Stanley Kubrick, which is called A Life in the Pictures, and Oh Lucky Malcolm, which is a really insightful documentary. But yeah, I really do love Stanley Kubrick as a director. There's a couple of different variations of this box set. The US release has 2 extra films, Doctor Strangelove and Spartacus, and so I picked up Spartacus separately on Blu-ray as well, which of course stars Kurt Russell. This is the 50th anniversary release, and what an absolutely tremendous film. The first hour in particular is my favourite bit of this movie, since it is a 3-hour film and of course quite long, but I really did enjoy it. I thought the ending was pretty brutal, and overall what an absolutely just amazing 60s film. So that's Spartacus. Next up we have the Jurassic Park Ultimate Trilogy, which of course I do own Jurassic World on Blu-ray, so I thought I'd just grab the originals as well, and I've not had a chance to watch these yet on Blu-ray, but of course I have seen the films and they are amazing. I really do love Jurassic Park as a franchise, and definitely one of the best box sets I've seen so far of Jurassic Park released on Blu-ray. I think the recent one with the sort of sandy coloured box set was not really that good, but I grabbed the Ultimate Trilogy version, which was just a really great bargain on eBay. So that's Jurassic Park, the 6-disc edition Blu-ray box set. Next up we have the J.J. Abrams Star Trek films. We have the 3-disc edition of the first film Star Trek, which came out in 2009. This is an upgrade of a DVD that I've already got, and the film itself is absolutely amazing. And then a Blu-ray that I've had for about a year and I've not even bothered watching, and that's Star Trek Into Darkness, which I really did enjoy. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch was fantastic in this film, and Simon Pegg as Scotty, his longer performance as Scotty was great as well, since Scotty's my favourite Star Trek character from the original. So that's Star Trek Into Darkness. Next up we have Bradley Cooper in American Sniper, which does spark a lot of controversy as a film, but this is a Clint Eastwood directed film, and I thought it was brilliant. Really great visuals, and overall one of the best films I've seen in quite a while, and definitely a great, of course, war film. So that's American Sniper. A film that I've not watched yet, and that's 12 Years a Slave, which stars the guy out of the film Serenity. I cannot remember his name, but yeah, I've not watched this yet, and I really am looking forward to it. Apparently Michael Fassbender's performance in this film is really something that you will despise, and I'm very much looking forward to checking out his performance, since of course you would want to hate the character if he is a slave owner. So that's 12 Years a Slave. Next up we have a comedy, The In-Betweeners 2, which is a pretty mediocre film in my personal opinion. The first one I didn't really like anyway, but this one is a little bit of a step up, to be fair, but just as shit in my opinion. But yeah, that's The In-Betweeners 2. Next up we have another upgrade, and that's Despicable Me, the triple play edition. Really nice little kids film, and one that has definitely grown on me, so that's Despicable Me. Next up we have Chappie, from the director of District 9, one of my all-time favourite movies, and Neil Blomkamp as a director. I definitely do love his approach to sci-fi. I think it's definitely one of the more better approaches to modern-day science fiction films, and this one definitely does, of course, continue that opinion of mine, and I overall really enjoyed it. The ending was a little bit strange, not really something that I was particularly fond of. I, of course, will not ruin it, but if you have seen the film, you will know what I'm talking about, and I didn't really think that was a necessary element, but I guess it was okay, so that's Chappie. Next up we have another Simon Pegg film, and that is How to Lose Friends and Alienate People, another film that I've upgraded, and overall it's actually not a bad comedy. It's hit and miss for most people, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Really great, of course, seeing Simon Pegg manipulate the job position of a lifetime, really, as a magazine editor. I really do love this film, and I think his attitude to that job role is hilarious in this movie. So that's How to Lose Friends and Alienate People. And finally for the Blu-rays we have Fight Club, starring Ed Norton and Brad Pitt. This is the 10th anniversary release on Blu-ray, and I wanted to grab the version with the slipcover, which I luckily found in CEX for only £5, which isn't too bad at all. And yeah, of course we have the amazing cover with Ed Norton on the front, and we have Brad Pitt on the back, and then we have both of them on the actual Blu-ray cover itself. So Fight Club is a film that I did recently watch, and I really thoroughly loved it, so of course it was a no-brainer to grab it on Blu-ray. So that's the Blu-rays I've picked up recently. I will try and, of course, watch the films that I have not watched in this update, and I'll probably include them in the next one. So that's all the Blu-rays. Moving on to the DVDs. Okay, so moving on to the DVDs, first up we have Family Guy Season 14, which actually wasn't a bad season. I did lose interest in Family Guy from about Season 11 onwards. Season 12 definitely reprised my interest in the show, and Season 14 wasn't as bad, but I do have quite a major flaw with this season, and that is the unfortunate passing of Brian the dog, which as you can see from the front cover, which is quite spoilery. Brian passed away, and the only problem that I do have with that is the fact that they brought him back after only 3 episodes, which I was hoping they'd go the South Park route, and just like Kenny died in Season 5, they'd leave him out of the season, just like they did with South Park in Season 6, where Kenny was replaced. But yeah, unfortunately, he was brought back after 3 episodes, and what I found utterly obscene was the fact that Seth MacFarlane and other staff writers on Family Guy received quite a lot of abuse and hate and death threats over social media, which was just obscene over a cartoon dog. But Brian was brought back after 3 episodes, which I guess is okay, but I was just a little bit disappointed in that factor. But that's Family Guy Season 14, pretty decent season overall. Next up we have South Park Season 18, which I did a review of quite recently. Really great season, hysterical overall, and my favourite joke was, of course, Randy pretending to be the singer Lord, which was absolutely hilarious. So that's Season 18 of South Park. Next up we have a movie box set, The Fly and The Fly 2. This is the remake from, I think, 1986 and 1989, which stars Jeff Goldblum. And yeah, overall these films are actually pretty decent. The second one, of course, is the one with the lowest rating, and that was only 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb, which I kind of disagree with. It was poorer than the first film, but it wasn't awful. And regarding these as horror films, I definitely do disagree with. I would definitely call these sort of a tragic romance kind of film, at least the first one. The second one is just a little bit strange, but it wasn't as bad. So that's the Fly 1 and 2, the Fly remake. I want to check out the 50s version. I'll definitely have to pick that up at some point. Next up we have The Fifth Element, starring Bruce Willis. Actually not a bad film either. I really enjoyed it overall. I thought the character of Lulu was quite funny, with the multipass scene. That was probably the best scene throughout the entire film, which had me in stitches laughing, but that's The Fifth Element, pretty good film. Next up we have a documentary film, and that is This Is Spinal Tap, which Spinal Tap is a pretty great band. If you've never checked them out, definitely do so. And this is sort of an overly exaggerated documentary of an over-exaggerated version of the band, which was really funny, really great documentary film, and had me in stitches laughing once again. So that is This Is Spinal Tap. Next up we have a short film, and that is Toy Story That Time Forgot. I grabbed this in Tesco for maybe £2 or £3, and I really enjoyed the other one that they did, Toy Story of Terror, and I was hoping this would be as good, but unfortunately it was a little bit poor in my opinion, but I guess it was okay for a Toy Story short. So that's Toy Story That Time Forgot. Next up we have Mr. Sloan, starring Nick Frost. Pretty okay series. It got cancelled after the 6 episodes, which is unfortunate. I was hoping they would maybe evolve it a little bit more, since the finale was very open to interpretation. But yeah, pretty much if you take the character that Nick Frost plays in The World's End and stick him in 1969, that's pretty much what you're going to get out of this season. So that's Mr. Sloan. Next up we have the IT Crowd finale, version 5.0, The Internet Is Coming. Really excited that this got a DVD release. IT Crowd, one of the best comedies from Channel 4, and one of the best comedies of all time in my personal opinion. And when this aired in 2013, I thought it was great, and now we finally have a DVD edition to complete the IT Crowd collection. So that's the sort of finale movie of the IT Crowd, The Internet Is Coming. Next up we have another Edward Norton film, and that is American History X. What a beautiful film. Of course it deals with the controversial aspect of racism, but I really do love this film. It was definitely a powerful one at that, and even though of course it has some very disturbing scenes at the beginning, and of course some very racially abusive scenes, I actually really enjoyed the film. It was all about rehabilitation, and I really liked the ending, even though it was very brutal. So that's American History X, definitely a film I would recommend. Next up we have Friday the 13th. I'm not really a huge fan of slasher films, if I'm being honest, and this one wasn't that great. It's a cult classic in many people's opinions, but you can let me know if I should really check out the other chapters in this franchise. I wasn't overly in love with this film. It was okay, I guess, but yeah, it passed an hour and a half, so that's Friday the 13th. Next up we have Star Trek First Contact. This is part of the Next Generation movies, and I believe this one was made in 1996, and I've never really checked out Star Trek The Next Generation, and this was definitely a great introduction. It stars Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard, and this was amazing. I really did love the enemies, the Borgs, and if you're new to Star Trek, definitely check out this film. As a standalone movie, I thought this was great. I thought the character Worf was one of my personal favourites, the Klingon alien, and yeah, what an absolutely terrific film. So that's Star Trek First Contact. Next up we have the Gremlins collection, of course containing the first and second films, Gremlins and Gremlins 2 The New Batch. Gremlins, the first one, but directed by Steven Spielberg, is always a classic, and one that I've never watched all the way through, despite the fact that throughout my childhood it was always on Channel 5. But yeah, I finally watched both of them all the way through. The first one was pretty good. The second one was pretty much sort of a satire film, sort of mocking the first one. It was really funny, actually, so definitely recommend these two films if you know, check them out. Next up, I'm going to have to clear some room because I went ahead and bought the first season of the show Scrubs, and I fell in love with the show and bought all of them from Amazon. I got this box set for about £30, and yeah, I really did thoroughly enjoy watching this show. I've seen all of it all the way through. Personally, it ends at season 8 in my opinion. Season 9 is unfortunately sort of a spin-off show. They called it Scrubs Med School, where they had a load of interns as brand new characters and kind of got rid of some of the original cast from the original 8 seasons. And yeah, I mean, it was an okay series, but good God, it ended poorly with that one. But if you're new to Scrubs, or if you really want to check it out, please watch seasons 1 through to 8. The Series 8 finale is beautiful. Absolutely amazing television. I really thoroughly enjoyed this series, so I'm going to be doing a review of that box set straight after this video as soon as I can. Next up, we have a couple of films that I haven't watched yet. We have Basic, starring Sam Jackson and John Travolta. I've not watched this. If you want to let me know if it's any good, then by all means comment below. I grabbed American History X from a very dodgy eBay seller who was sort of refusing to give me the item, and I reported him and got my money back, but he'd already posted the American History X and included this one for free, so I did feel a little bit bad, but you can let me know if this film is actually worth watching. So that's Basic. Next up is a film I grabbed. I grabbed this with American Sniper and 12 Years a Slave, and that's Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Not watched this yet. I did get this spoiled for me though, which is kind of irritating. I know the spoiler about George Clooney, which is kind of annoying, but yeah, I did actually have to write a piece about this film, and I watched the very interesting sequence where all the debris from the satellites is scattering across space and affecting the astronauts, and I thought that was really good, so I thought I'd check out the film anyway. So that's Gravity. And finally, to conclude this update, we have the complete series of the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, which I grabbed Battlestar Galactica Season 1 in my Christmas haul video, if anybody remembers, and I hadn't watched it at that point. However, I was told by a YouTuber before I checked out the Series 1, I should check out the mini-series, which definitely explained a lot, since I was quite perplexed about Episode 1, since there was a previously bit and I wasn't sure actually what order to even watch Battlestar in. But we have the mini-series, which came out in 2003, and the official series came out in 2004. This is kind of a pilot basically, and it's actually really enjoyable. I really do love this series. I'm only up to Series 3 thus far. I've only just finished Series 3, and I really did love this. So that's the mini-series, and so much so I thought the order for viewing Battlestar was so convoluted. I actually logged on to a website, and I actually printed out a episode-specific order of how to actually watch Battlestar Galactica, which is really confusing, and if anyone's actually interested in getting into the series, I'll paste this below, and you can of course reference this if you are going to check out the series. So that's Battlestar Galactica, the mini-series. Then we have Season 1, which I thought was fantastic. The show was a little bit slow up to about Episode 3, which is when I really got into it, in the space prison episode, and then the finale was really shocking, and definitely made me want to grab Series 2, which was a pretty decent season. I thought the ending to this wasn't as good, but it was very interesting. And then we have Season 3, which really did kick off with one of the best, and some of the best episodes I've watched of this series thus far, and the finale of this was a little bit disappointing, but I'm not overly disappointed with it. I cannot wait to check out Series 4, which contains HD movie Razor, which apparently is set between Series 2 and Series 3 and explains quite a lot of the content to do with the ship, the Pegasus, of course engaging with the ship Battlestar. Yeah, I mean, obviously I've not checked out this series yet, but I thought Razor as a DVD movie, which is included on this box set, was superb, really enjoyable. And finally we have the final season, which Series 4 rather is split into two halves, so we have the first half and then the second half on a final season. And yeah, I genuinely cannot wait to watch this. I love the front cover artwork, it looks amazing. And then we have one of the last DVD movies, and that is The Plan, which I cannot wait to watch either. So thanks for watching my Blu-ray and DVD update for March 2016. You can let me know what you think of my pickups in the comments. Let me know if you've watched anything great recently. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment below, and subscribe for more upcoming videos.